We ended the last episode of the Manhattan Project at a very crucial point in time for this series. Now, in prior episodes, we have had those moments, those decisions to make that could have changed this series for better or worse in some people's opinions, and yet again, we are at one of those very important crossroads, as we have players we could potentially trade for in Taylor Hall and Denis Guryanov, free agents we could potentially sign, Sergei Bobrovsky, Cam Talbot, Nicholas Hjalmarsson, Matt Duchene, as well as some other prospects, we'll say. And in the case of, I think it's Katarinakis, he's an 83, so he's not quite a prospect, but you get the point. And whenever I have to make a decision like this, there's always, different audiences that you kind of have to play to. You have the people that just don't care and want to see this team be ridiculous and want me to build the best team possible, no matter what that means. You have other people that want the more realistic route, and then you have the people in the middle who don't care, and they're going to watch these episodes regardless because they enjoy the series. And that's awesome. I love you guys all the same, but still, a certain group makes it much, much easier. The problem is I'm never going to be able to appease everybody. It's impossible with a series like this. So even as I'm talking now, my mind still isn't completely made up about what, or in regards to what I'm going to do in this episode, right? I mean, as it is, this team, of course, has changed a lot more than I thought it would. But the big questions right now, do we get rid of JT Miller? Anthony DeAngelo is pretty much going to go regardless because of the overall situation. And then the goaltending. Is it good enough, right? Now, here's the thing. I'll start off with the two players on the trading block. That being Taylor Hall and Denis Guryanov. Now, I did say I wanted to avoid using repeat players, right? And we've kind of already failed at that because we do have Owen Tippett, who we acquired very easily thanks to Jimmy Vesey. We also signed Cole Lind, of course, who we also used in Rebuilding Hockeytown, who currently features in Rebuilding Hockeytown, and Nick Hague as well. A lot of people were disappointed to see me sign these particular players. And then you had other guys like Connor Timmins, Eric Bronstrom, and Jarrett Anderson-Dolan, who ended up hitting the free agent market. And I think, people aren't as upset about me signing them because they were on the free agent list, although Cole and Nick Hague were as well. But granted, we used those guys in a different series. When it comes to Guryanov and Taylor Hall, Guryanov featured very heavily in the most recent Bruins series. If I'm not mistaken, I could be, confusing series, but he was a featured player. Taylor Hall was absolutely a featured player in Rebuilding Hockeytown. And I think, as I bat that damn fruit fly away, it might have even been a mosquito. Good God, I'll have to pay attention to that. Anyway, point being, I'm not going to trade for Guryanov. I'm not going to trade for Taylor Hall. Period. I'm not going to. And part of me is like, look, if I could trade for them, no problem. Have this team go the Rebuilding Hockeytown route, no problem. It's not exactly what I want to do here. Now, like I said, defense, we will absolutely see a change. We may still see JT Miller go, but it won't be for Guryanov. It won't be for Taylor Hall. And then the other big question was the goaltending. Now, Shesterkin right now hasn't exactly turned into the goalie we thought he would be. 88, 89, maybe even a 90 overall. He does have a .920 save percentage, and then Halverson as the backup has a .917. Now, I showed off the save percentages for Bobrovsky and Talbot in the last episode, and they're not great. They're not great. They're about equal, really, to what Shesterkin has been doing for us this season. If I can hit the proper trigger, there we go. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to sign Bobrovsky. I'm not going to sign Talbot. With Bobrovsky, we used him in the Columbus/Quebec City franchise mode up until Joonas Korpisalo was ready to take the starting job. He wasn't great in that series, and through three seasons in the Rangers sim so far, bad season, what Shesterkin's done, and then slightly better than what Shesterkin's done. I don't care to spend $8 million on Sergei Bobrovsky, and then even once we resign him and have that down to, say, 7, maybe even in the $6 million range, between 6 and 7, I don't want to pay him that much money because I don't have the confidence in him. And then same with Cam Talbot, who's been all right. 920 save percentage, 922 and a 912. He hasn't been bad, but you have to remember, we had to spend a lot more money than I wanted to in the past re-sign phase because a lot of players threatened to leave. And yes, we did end up trading Anton Strawman, mainly because of the acquisition of Charlie McAvoy. We ended up trading Nino Niederreiter to get Christian Vesalainen, which is still looking like it's going to be a pretty good deal. We have cap space right now, but very quickly that is going to disappear as we need to re-sign Mika Zibanejad. Malta Stromwall is going to be looking for $2 to $3 million. Jeff Skinner. Do we want to bring back Derek Brassard? Kevin Hayes, I know, is there, and we should be able to get him for a little bit more cheap, and I'm not even sure if we still want to keep him, although he has turned it around a little bit this season. You get the point. Many different approaches I could take for the rest of this sim. However, I think the best approach is to be cautious and don't do anything too drastic. So that is the approach we are going to take. Now, again, there will still be moves in this episode, and we will still sim to the end of this season. We're very much in the playoff mix right now. However, any moves we make, it's a little bit risky because it is trade deadline day, and after today, we can't sign anybody. So we have to send out our offers right now, and if somebody declines, we're in a bit of trouble, right? If somebody declines, we're in a bit of trouble. Now, as far as the moves I'm looking at making, Katarinakis will absolutely be signed. I don't know how he's up to an 83. I know high AHL top 6 isn't too bad of a potential. I would probably play him down in Hartford just because that offensive awareness at a 76 is pretty damn low. But he could turn into somebody for us, absolutely. And then on defense, Hjalmarsson, you have Pedri as well, who was a former member of the Hartford Wolfpack. We traded him away because I didn't think he'd make it, but he looks like a pretty damn decent offensive defenseman. Now, whether or not I want to play him with Ryan Graves, I don't know, because Graves plus minus is like a minus 15. He's not looking that great. You could argue maybe even trade Graves and D'Angelo and have Hjalmarsson and Pedri. Again, tough decisions. And then if JT Miller goes, which I just don't think I can't help but give him extra chances. I don't know why. I just don't want to give up on JT Miller, and I don't think I will. So, I mean, yeah, Duchesne's an option, Nyquist is an option, but that's just not the way we're going to go. We are going to be very cautious about this. So my main objective right now is to trade away some players because there are, or at least there is one medium top 9 guy, but there are also medium top 6 defensive prospects who might be worth signing, including Greer, who's a 75 at 20 years old. So we have some other moves that could be very beneficial for us. Beneficial? I said that weird. Could be very beneficial for us moving forward. But again, we're going to be a little bit cautious. So what we're going to do for the moment is we are going to try and clear some roster spots. Now, again, Anthony D'Angelo, a bit of a morale issue. I just don't feel like dealing with him at this point in time. He's a medium top 4 defenseman as it is, and that top 4 is locked. So, better to just get rid of him. We'll call up Connor Timmins for now. You could argue we don't even need to sign Pedri or Hjalmarsson. I could just go with Connor Timmins, which, to be honest, I think if I had to sign a defenseman now, I would probably go with Hjalmarsson as the rental, and then Connor Timmins will be called up next year rather than signing Pedri. I think that's probably the better way to go. Now, you could argue, like I said, that Connor Timmins is better now, but we'll give him the rest of the year down in Hartford. So we're going to trade D'Angelo, and then we'll look to bring in Hjalmarsson, but is there anybody else that we can get rid of here that's under contract? A couple of decent players that we still have, really. I mean, players that could at least compete for a third pairing spot. It's going to be tough, because obviously that top 4 is locked down for now with McDonough, Shattenkirk, McAvoy, and Shea. Then you have Bodie Wild in the mix, Kuhlman, Hemsky as well. There is going to be some turnover defensively in future seasons. And again, as far as who else we can get rid of, Roberts, I mean, we could get rid of, we won't. That's fine, we'll keep him for now. Medium top 6 McKinnon is fine. Joel Lundqvist I was going to keep, now I won't. So I'm thinking JT Miller stays, but for now we're going to look to trade DeAngelo and Lundqvist. We'll try to send them out west with the team that has a bit of a rough record, and hopefully somebody that has some cap space. That's what we're looking for at the moment, because I don't want to have to deal with DeAngelo turning into an absolute beast. Unfortunately, the West appears to be a pretty strong conference, so I don't exactly get my ideal choice here. But San Jose might be a good destination as they're looking to rebuild a little bit, looking to get rid of Joe Pavelski and others, so we might be able to get a deal done here. We're not going to be able to get their first round pick. That's not going to happen. I don't know if a second round pick is good enough for me. Here, you know what? Let's try this. How about 2 second rounders and a 4th rounder? What do you say to that? No. Okay, I need to see how close this deal is, though. How about a 6th? That should work out. And the thing is, too, if Hjalmarsson, 2 second rounders? No. Really? DeAngelo should be worth that. If Hjalmarsson declines, we have Connor Timmins. So that's what I'm thinking at this point. And by the way, as it is, the amount of draft picks that we have is ungodly at this point. It really is. But again, that happens where we've been, we started to rebuild, yet we are still in a competitive mode. And obviously it's like, oh, okay, well, we're rebuilding, yet we're winning. So yeah, obviously we'll bring in Derek Brassard and just go for it. Why not? I mean, if we miss out, we still have some good draft picks to begin with. Let's tack on a 3rd here to see if we can finally get this to go through. Please? Really? San Jose, you're killing me. I want these picks, though, because they should be higher up picks, not as if we need them at this point. Will that go through? I might have to give up on second rounders. That's surprising, to be honest. I guess they don't value DeAngelo that highly, even though they want him. Will that go through? Still no. I'm cool with this because these draft picks, we have plenty of them to begin with. But DeAngelo, Lundqvist, a 3rd, 4th, and 6th for the next 2 second-round picks from the San Jose Sharks. Still didn't go through, and they had to put Brendan Dillon on waivers. Well, fucking hell. All right, San Jose, thank you for wasting my time. Minnesota, we've already made plenty of deals with. They're a good team, but to be honest, we might be able to turn that into another first-rounder. They do want to give away their first-rounder. Nope, not enough spots. Are we going to be able to get a deal done here, is the question. Calgary might be our last hope. They had the champion tag as well, but they don't want to give up their first-round pick. And I can see why. It has a lot of value. But how about your first-round pick next year? And your 3rd as well. Will that go through? No, it won't. But again, we will try to get this to go through. And I'm still trying to think in the meantime of what other moves I'll make. That still won't go through. We'll try a 4th. Again, DeAngelo has to go. It's fine. Connor Timmins will take his spot anyway. Will that go through? Still no. Calgary, come on. I know it's a 1st, but you want to trade it. Can you just cooperate here? That's all I'm asking. Will that go through? Still no. Value's just a bit low. All right, we'll try the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Will that go through? Please. It will. So Anthony DeAngelo, Joel Lundqvist, a 4th, 5th, and 6th this year for Calgary's 1st and 3rd round pick next year. Ridiculous, but that's how easy it is to acquire picks, and we'll do it. So there you go. Anthony DeAngelo is gone. Connor Timmins will be called up for the moment. I'm a bit worried about Brady Shea. Thankfully, he is still an 88. And again, Ryan Graves might not be the best option. He struggled so far. The rest of this season will really determine whether or not he's worth keeping because, again, he has competition coming up the pipeline. Hemsky, Haig, Day could all very well make the NHL or be NHL caliber next season. So I think we'll probably keep Ryan Graves and give him the chance, but he's on thin ice. He is absolutely on thin ice. So we do have a couple of roster spots now, which is good, and we'll try to take advantage of that in free agency. So again, we'll try to sign Nicholas Hjalmarsson, and we'll give him a little bit more than he wants because he's a rental, so it doesn't matter. We'll give him $5 million. That's fine by me. We'll also send a deal to, is it Andy? Alexander Kateranakis. I don't know why I thought it was Andy. It's not at all. And again, we'll offer him the max deal, so that he might be a little bit more willing to accept. And then from there, oh shit! So we have Glenn Berry, 73 overall, 20 years old. Right, I think I have room. I was at 45 contracts, but we also have a player or two down in the AHL. So I need to make a tough decision here in a way. Do I go with Barry? Do I go with Greer? There was somebody else too. Denisov was the other one. Right. You know what? We should have enough spots, hopefully. So I'm going to send an offer to Greer as well. And Barry. And we'll see. We'll see if Barry accepts as well. And that should bring us up to 49 contracts. And again, with the CHL being the way it is, we should be fine. We should be able to sign everybody up. And we'll move forward. Somehow, some way, Kevin Hayes and JT Miller survive yet again. Don't ask me how. It's just how it goes, apparently. But let's get this team set up again. I am going to put JT Miller on the right. We'll see if that helps him out. I doubt it. Not much has helped him out throughout the course of this series. But we should be fine. Who's on the third pairing that might be upset? Hayes and JT Miller. Right. Are they at least on the penalty kill? They're not. Okay, so I need to do something about Hayes and Miller. I mean, we need Stromwall on the power play, for sure. Turris is a second-line guy. You have Brassard as well. I think I'm just going to go penalty kill here. And we'll go... Jimmy Hayes is a fourth liner. All right, so we'll take Zibanejad out for Kevin Hayes, even though he's not exactly the best defensive forward, but he has 4-star defense. It's good enough for me. And we'll also put JT Miller on the penalty kill, and that should work. And then defensively, it has Ehrhoff in, which is good. Cole Lind is currently scratched, which isn't ideal. But, oh, let's see. You know what? We'll leave it that way. Actually, no. We'll take out Lee Roberts again. Leave him as a depth guy. We'll put Cole Lind back in. Like I said, I don't know if Lind, Tippett, and Haig will stick around. We might get rid of them before they're ready for the NHL. I'm not sure. We'll see. But we are good to move forward. We play the Bruins on deadline day. We'll see what happens with those offers. Again, some people might be upset that I'm not going after Bobrovsky, Talbot, Guryanov, Taylor Hall. And I get that. But I feel like this will be the most interesting path moving forward. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. And look, like I've said, if you want difficulty in this game, you have to create it. Because it's way too easy to, get those goaltenders in the trade for those players, which I could have very easily done. Now, Grant Greer accepted, which is good, although he won't be in the AHL lineup, is what I was going to say. That's why we had the ahs and the allo and the AHL and the haha. We're good. I don't know what the haha is, but it's fine. Hjalmarsson accepted, Kateranakis, Barry, all four accepted. That's not a bad bit of business. We did lose to the Flyers, but that is okay. So let's go get this team set up, and then we'll see if we can make the postseason. We're 3 points out, 4 points back of the Hurricanes for an actual spot. Again, we have missed the playoffs 2 years in a row after winning the Stanley Cup in year one. We'll see what happens, because I don't know what to expect, but let's get that move done. Timmins will drop a point, which is fine. And then again, on defense, we're going to need to make changes. We have way too many high-caliber defenders at the moment. Kateranakis will stay in the AHL, so we're good. We just needed to get Hjalmarsson into the lineup. So, best lines. We'll put Stromwall back. We'll swap Miller and Kovacs. Then on defense, Hjalmarsson is with Graves, which is fine. Graves also has a decent shot, so it's better for him to be on the right. So, we need to give it a little bit of attention, again, to Hayes. Not that Hayes, the other Hayes. All right, there's Kevin. We need to put JT Miller on the penalty kill and Hjalmarsson as well. And we'll probably take Graves out for Hjalmarsson. Makes sense to me. So, an interesting addition in Hjalmarsson, and then we'll see what happens with Shesterkin and Halverson. Risky to hold on to them, absolutely. But we'll see what happens. Now, I do want to go best lines. Down in the AHL, We want this team to be the best they can possibly be, to somehow sneak into the playoffs, which is not looking too good right about now, but you never know. They might be able to find a way if other people are a bit weaker in the division, especially. We are going to put Tippett on the top line with Katarinakis, and Elias Anderson. We'll have Formenton with Anderson Dolan, and we'll put Vesalainen up there as well. And I think I'll probably take out Kevin McFarland for Cole Lind. So Safin, McKinnon, and Barry will be the scratches. But I think they're looking good. Let's move forward. I don't expect the Wolfpack to make the playoffs, which is fine. We'll see what happens with the Rangers, though. It's a very important month moving forward. I'm a bit anxious about it. We just lost both games to Philly, which is really rough, including a 7-3 loss. Here, we'll sim to the 18th. Again, like I mentioned, some people are going to be all right with the moves I made. Some people are going to be upset at the moves I didn't make. You might not be wrong, considering we lost 3 in a row. We did at least beat Montreal, and then we get a big win against Carolina. But we need to win more than we lose, obviously. We're trailing the Hurricanes. We're trailing, I think it was, well, Philly's definitely ahead of us, but you get the point. We need to win us some games, and we'll see if we can actually do that moving forward. Let's go 3 weeks for the forwards, 2 weeks for the defensemen. With the last 2 scouting locations, we're up to 36 wins, back-to-back wins over Pittsburgh and Philly. Are we in a playoff spot? We are. We are in the second wild card spot. Unfortunately, the rest of the division has improved. It is a very close race with 12 games to go. A very close race. And there is a chance we could miss the playoffs for the 3rd straight season. Now, I do want to check on that third line, which just... Oh, JT, you are such a disappointment. Like, you really are. No matter what we've done with JT Miller, he just hasn't turned it on this in this sim. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit crazy, I think. Maybe. Do I give Kruger the chance? Do I give Jimmy Hayes the chance? Right. I'm going to drop JT Miller down to the 4th line. We're going to put Kevin Hayes on the left. We'll have Kruger at center, and we'll see how that goes. But I was really hoping JT would be able to start to turn it around, leading into this postseason. Man, Ryan Graves is really struggling too. Like, really struggling. Now, we will leave him here for the rest of the year, but no doubt about it, Ryan Graves has to go after this season. Again, that top 6 is locked in. So it's looking like our third pairing next year very well could be Timmins and Hemsky. I mean, Timmins just keeps bouncing back to 82, 83 overall now. You could argue send down Graves right now, which might not be the worst idea. I mean, he does have an expiring deal as well, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. He'd be aggravated over it, that's for sure. And trust me, I am very close to doing that. Halverson at a 922, Shesterkin at a 919. It's not great, but we'll see what happens with JT Miller on the 4th line, which isn't ideal at all, but he's forced my hand. We've given him every opportunity to turn it around. Kevin Hayes, at the very least, has had a half-decent season. He's over 30 points, might even be approaching 40, but it just hasn't been good from JT Miller. He had like 40-some-odd points in the first season, and it's been all downhill from there as we lose 2 out of 3 in that next batch of games. And you know what? Let's just sim to April 1st. Our playoff hopes are still alive, but the light isn't exactly the brightest at the moment. We'll see what happens. We keep trading wins and losses, which again really isn't ideal. We get a big win over Minnesota, who continue to be a pretty dominant team, and we get the overtime win over New Jersey for our 40th win of the year. We have 5 games left, 4 in the Eastern Conference. We do play the Dallas Stars, randomly enough. We also have a couple of Atlantic Division opponents as well. We are currently outside the playoff structure with 5 games to go. The Islanders have one of the wild card spots with 90 points. The question is, what's happening in the Atlantic? And it would be 86 points to get into the postseason, so we are 1 point out. We're right there. It'll be a wild card spot more than likely. Yet again, All we have to do is win at the end of the season, and we'll get into the playoffs. That's all we have to do. That's all we have to do. And I have to admit, as intrigued as I am by this upcoming draft because of the 18 million picks that we have, which we will make them. I won't be cheap and just trade up for all first-rounders. I won't trade for the best prospects in the game from other teams. We'll make the picks, and if the players suck, so be it. But I'm not ready for the draft. It's been too long since we've had postseason hockey. Let's see what happens. Against Columbus, a gigantic game, and Jimmy Hayes goes down with a sprained ankle. Right. Not the best time for that. We could give Katerinakis the chance. We could give Cameron Askew the chance, who is listed as a fourth liner. Right. How's Katerinakis done? I mean, he is up to an 84. That offensive awareness is very much concerning. I don't want to play him in a fourth line spot. I mean, granted, I could put him on the third line, but still, his attributes are weird. His attributes just aren't great, but he is an 84 overall, mainly because of his shot. Cameron Askew, physical, but still not that great. He's not that great. Elias Anderson has done well at the AHL level. I said I didn't know if he'd make the NHL level. We're going to see what Owen Tippett can do. We'll drop Marcus Kruger back down to the fourth line, although he is up to an 85 and is apparently doing relatively well on that third line. But what I'm going to do, we'll go best lines. We will put JT Miller on the right, and we'll have Kovacs, Hayes, Tippett as the third line. And we'll give Owen Tippett the chance. That's how little faith I have in JT Miller at this point. Although we will still put him on the penalty kill. We'll swap him out for Delorier. So let's get JT, and then Hjalmarsson needs to be swapped out for Ryan Graves. I'm thinking we're going to miss the postseason. Just a hunch. I'm thinking we're going to miss the postseason. We'll just go best lines down in the AHL. We'll leave it the same. Whatever. Cole Lind was scratched. Whatever. I don't care. They're going to miss the playoffs anyway. More than likely. Actually, they're up to 36 wins. That's actually not too bad. They did turn it around. What do you know? Against Dallas, we need a point at least. Pity point or the win. That works too. All right, 2 straight wins to start the month. We're looking all right. 3 games left in this season. Are we in a playoff spot? We are. We are currently in the second wild card spot. We're 4 points back of Carolina. There is still a chance, especially if we win this next game, that we could finish as high as second in this division. Or we could miss the playoffs. Both are still possible. We need to beat Carolina because the last 2 games of the season are against Atlantic Division opponents. Let's find out. Can we beat Carolina, please? Biggest game of the year. Brady Shea injures his shoulder and is out for a week. All right. We will call up Connor Timmins, obviously. I still don't know if we've won or not, which is concerning. We'll go best lines. Again, we'll swap these players around. It's funny, now it actually does put Stromwall there. And, of course, Hjalmarsson will be with McAvoy, which is good. The penalty kill should be fine. Although, here, let's go best lines down in the AHL just to take care of that. Oh, God. Penalty kill. JT Miller? You know, I'm still going to take out Graves, and we'll put in JT Miller for Delorier. I'm a bit nervous, man. I'm a bit anxious. Like I said, I'm anxious to see what people think of this episode to begin with, but especially, too, if I miss the playoffs after the moves that we made or the lack of moves that we didn't make. You know, some people might not be too happy. But let's see. Did we beat Carolina? 2-0 shutout victory. Oh, my God. What a victory that was. Wow. That is a gigantic win. Like I said, biggest game of the season. We're currently on 91 points. In the second wildcard spot, 2 games left. We have pretty much sealed a playoff spot. 1 point in the next 2 games will assure us a playoff spot. Now, Philly is out of it. The Flyers are out. They will not be making the postseason. They can only finish with the maximum of 90 points. The Atlantic Division could be the problem. Ottawa can finish with 94 points. They are the threat right now. Florida is out of it. So again, Ottawa can finish with 94 points. So we need to realistically win both games to make sure that we can, for sure clinch that playoff spot. So we have the advantage on Ottawa. We'll see what happens. We play Detroit and Florida. We could still miss the postseason. We could finish as the... oh, God. Call it what you will. I mean, the team that had the best chance to make it and didn't. Also known as the Bruins a few seasons ago when they missed on the last day of the postseason. We need to beat Detroit. Can we do so? 4-3 overtime win. Pity points don't matter. That should do it. If Ottawa dropped a game, we are in the postseason for the first time in 3 years. We're playing a Florida team that I believe is outside of the postseason structure. We're still in that wild card spot. Now, we can't get the second place spot, but we can get the third place spot in this division, and we'd play Columbus in the first round. 1 game left on 93 points, a 3-way tie with Carolina and Columbus. Talk about down to the wire, perhaps even more than the year that we missed out to Tampa. Ottawa must have won. They did. They are on 92 points. If we lose and Ottawa wins, we're out. That simple. We need to win. It is still a must-win game against the Florida Panthers, which, again, will look in the Atlantic Division. The Panthers are on 88 points, so they were close to a playoff spot, but not quite there. Will you be able to say the same thing about us? That is the question. All right. I almost want to sim it, but the last time we simmed it against Tampa, we lost. So let's do this. Let's find out. Can we beat Florida and seal the playoff spots? I don't care if Brady Shea's healthy. Yes! 1-0! Oh my God, we shut the door. 1-0 shutout victory, and the New York Rangers are back in the postseason. Holy shit. 6 straight wins. 7 straight wins, actually. Holy shit. 7 straight wins to end the year. And the Rangers are back. The question is our seeding, and we're still going to be in the second wildcard spot. Because unfortunately there was a 3-way tie with 95 points between us, the Islanders, and Carolina. So more than likely, I'd say we're going to play the Capitals. We are the Rangers. But let's take a look. Yeah, we're going to be playing Washington in the first round. Washington it is. They clinched the conference, obviously. So I didn't even notice that Z until now. Although they were up there for President's Trophy contention. Absolutely. 3 teams finished with 103 points. 3 teams finished with 99 points. A ton of teams finished with 95 points. Holy shit. But regardless, the New York Rangers are back in the postseason. So think what you will of certain moves that were made, that weren't made. But at the very least, we are back, and we will play the Washington Capitals in the first round. Now, we'll take a look at their team in the next episode, but right now what we need to do is take a look at the season stats, the player stats, and then we'll wrap up this episode. So, as always, we like to look at the special teams numbers and the goal scoring numbers. So let's see, goals for per game, we were at 2.63, which was bottom half of the table, unfortunately. Goal scoring not one of our biggest advantages, although you can kind of see, I mean, even through the middle of the table, I mean, it was relatively close. So we're not as bad as it may appear. 2.43 goals against average. We had the 4th lowest goals against average in the league. Don't need to tell you, that's pretty damn good. I'm happy with that, considering some of the questions on defense, mainly Ryan Graves and D'Angelo, although we traded D'Angelo, and the questions about our goaltending. Well, say what you want. We had one of the best goals against per game averages. 23.5% on the power play was best, for 3rd in the league, just above the Edmonton Oilers. And then the penalty kill at 84.5% was tied for 2nd best in the league. We were 0.1 away from being tied with Carolina for the best. So special teams-wise, not too bad. Goals against-wise, not too bad. It's just mainly our 5-on-5 goal scoring that appears to be the issue. We're also a bit of a road warrior team. 25, 12, and 4 on the road, but 8 and 2 heading in to the postseason. Our individual player stats, of course, we'll take a look at that, and then we'll take a look league-wide. But Malte Stromwall led the team in points, 41 goals, 31 assists, 72 points in total. Mika Zibanejad with 68 points. I think that's a career high for him. It is. He had 65 the previous season. Not too bad for him. Charlie McAvoy, our big free agent signing, 61 points, 25 goals for him. Hell of a job done. And again, a lot of people are like, oh, McAvoy, why'd you sign him? That's why. Why wouldn't I? Matt Zuccarello, 59 points, only 15 goals, a bit disappointing, but Malte Stromwall was the main man on that line. Jeff Skinner with 54 points, 21 goals, not too shabby. Kyle Turris, 42 points, isn't terrible. I expect a little bit better out of him, to be honest. Only 7 goals. That's a bit disappointing. He was much more impressive last year when we brought him in midway through the season, much like Derek Brassard, who we'll get to in a second. Kevin Hayes, 39 points, not too bad for a third-line player. Not at all. I'm happy with that. Brassard with 26 points in 46 games is pretty damn good. Shattenkirk, 24 points. Kovacs, only 24 points. Now, we have had players like this. Buchnevich, Cristobal Nieves. Kovacs might be that next guy, where the attributes absolutely show that he should be a bit of an offensive dynamo, but he's just not quite there. And you can say, well, he's on the third line, but Kevin Hayes isn't exactly a slouch. And again, he had 31 assists. I don't really understand how Kovacs only put up 13 goals. I was expecting better from him. Ryan McDonough with 23 points, and Kruger, who played a little bit on the third line, but mainly on the fourth line, had 22 points, 2 less than Kovacs. So, no excuses for Robin Kovacs. Oh, JT, 19 points. This may be his final season here, as considering Jimmy Hayes had 16 points in 4 fewer games. Concerning. Brady Shea with 16 points. He is not 100%. Neither was Jimmy Hayes, so they won't be back for Game 1, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Then you have Delorier, 10 points on the fourth line. You had Elias Anderson, 7 points in 34 games. Again, he was a bit disappointing, but he is younger. It's not exactly a Kovacs or Nieves situation. We can forgive him. Connor Timmins had 6 points in 16 games. Graves was a little bit rough. Hjalmarsson, though, looked to be a good signing. Owen Tippett had 1 point in six appearances there, so that didn't quite work out as I would have thought. Maybe we'll take him out rather than having him play in Game 1 against Washington. Now, the goaltending, of course, was a massive question. Shesterkin with 64 appearances, had a .920 save percentage, and then Halverson, 24 appearances with the .932. So again, I am still quite content with our goaltending as it stands. Quite content as people slam doors next door, which is fine. Oh, noisy neighbors, they're just the best. Anyway, around the league, well, that's disheartening now, isn't it? Ovechkin led the league in points, 88. Radulov with 86 in Dallas, and then Backstrom with 85. No real surprising names up there, but again, it's concerning when we have to play the leading goal scorer, Ovechkin, who had 46 goals. I lost my train of thought because I saw Tyson Jost at 43 goals and 89 overall. Stromwall, though, one of only 4 players to break the 40-goal mark, which isn't too bad. Also, Clayton Keller was up there. Holy shit. And Spencer Smallman, 85 overall, 34 goals, 66 points. Holy shit. Holy shit. Now, yes, he did. I was going to say, did Backstrom lead the league in assists? He absolutely did. No surprise there. Who was the goon, I wonder? Who was the ultimate goon? It was Ian McCoshen. You goon. Shame. Rookie scoring. Always interesting to keep an eye on, and it's going to be Nico Hischier with 71 points. He's going to win the Calder. Smallman with 66, Dennis Yam with 60. He also had Sprawn, Connor Garland, Sonny Milano, Dylan Strome, Brinkat, a couple other familiar names, but Nico Hischier should be winning the Calder. 21 years old, 83 overall for him. And I think that pretty much covers it, although we could look down at Hartford really quick, as Bronnstrom's leading the team in points as a defenseman. Hilarious. So guys, I think that brings this episode to a close. For the first time in a long time, the New York Rangers are back in the postseason. We play the Capitals in the next round, and look, we'll probably get smoked. That's fine. I just wanted to make the postseason. As it is, we have a ton of draft picks. It just made sense to go for it, and we've at least arrived. Anything can happen once you're in the postseason, right? And we'll see if something can actually happen as that journey begins in the next episode. But guys, that'll do it for this one. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, you know what to do to support the video and the channel. Any and all support is greatly appreciated. I'm trying to finish this up so I don't sneeze and I don't have to mute the mic, but it's all good. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.